Hey, what's up, guys? I'm gonna make a quick video. Try to keep it under 15 minutes. We're gonna talk about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and King Nebuchadnezzar. If you never heard this story, we're gonna be reading straight out the Bible. It starts in Daniel chapter 3. But if you start, I recommend reading Daniel 1 and 2 first. And it's not that long. King Nebuchadnezzar made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and its width was 60 cubits. He set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then King Nebuchadnezzar sent to gather the satraps and the prefects and the governors and the counselors, the treasurers, the justices, the magistrates, and all the officials of the province to come to dedicate of this image King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Then the satraps, the prefects, the governors, the counselors, and the treasurers of the justice, the magistrates, and all of the officials of the province gathered for the dedication of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up, and the herald proclaimed aloud, "You are commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages, that when you hear the sound of the horn and every music, you are to fall down and worship the golden image that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. And whosoever does not fall down and worship shall immediately be cast into the fiery furnace." Therefore, as soon as all the people heard the sound of the horn and all the music, all the peoples, nations, and languages fell down and worshiped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Therefore, at that time, certain Chaldeans came forward and maliciously accused the Jews. They declared to King Nebuchadnezzar, "O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that every man who hears the sound of the horn shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whosoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast into a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom you have appointed over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, pay no attention to you, and they do not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar, in furious rage, commanded that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought. So they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar answered and said to them, "Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my God or worship the golden image that I have set up? Now, if you are ready, when you hear the sound of the horn, you must fall down and worship the image that I have made, and well and good. But if you do not worship, you shall immediately be cast into the burning fiery furnace. And who is the God that will deliver you out of my hands?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If this so be, our God who we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image." Then Nebuchadnezzar was filled with fury, and the expression of his face was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He ordered the furnace be heated 7 times more hotter than it was usually heated. He had ordered some of his mighty men of his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their cloaks, their tunics, their hats, and their other garments, and they were thrown into the fiery furnace. Because the king's order was urgent and the furnace overheated, the flame of the fire killed those men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell bound into the burning fiery furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished and rose up in haste. He declared, "Counselors, did we not cast 3 men bound into the fire?" They answered and said, "King, True, O king. He answered, but I see 4 men walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt, and their appearance of the fourth is like the son of the gods. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the door of the fiery furnace. He declared, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out and come here. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire, and the and the satraps, the prefects, the governors, and the king's counselors gathered together and saw that the fire had not had any power over the bodies of those men. The hair of their heads were not singed, their cloaks were not harmed, and no smell of fire had come upon them. Nebuchadnezzar answered and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted him, and set aside the king's command and yielded up their bodies rather than serve and worship any god except their own God. Therefore, I make a decree. Any people, nation, or language that speak anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be torn limb from limb and their houses laid to ruins. For there is no other God who is able to rescue in this way. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. King Nebuchadnezzar, to all peoples, all nations, all languages that dwell on the earth, peace be multiplied to you. It has seemed good to me to show the signs and wonders of the Most High God has done for me. How great are his signs and how mighty are his wonders. His kingdom is everlasting and his dominion endures from generation to generations. What I want to go, like I said, that's in Daniel chapter 3, right? What I want to go back on is right before they were about to be thrown into the fire. They said, if be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand. But if not, be it known that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image. So these men literally were standing in front of a fiery furnace, binded up, being ready to be thrown in. And they had so much faith that God would deliver them from this. They said, even if he doesn't, be it known that we will still not serve you. You know, what an example, you know, because I have it over here. Proverbs chapter 17, verse 3. The crucible is for silver and the furnace is for gold, and the Lord tests hearts. The Lord is going to test us. Our faith is going to be tested with fire. And you have to trust in God. You have to trust the process. Romans 8:28, all things work together for those who love God. And you got to understand, man, that the deeper that you get into your relationship with God, the more intense the spiritual warfare is going to be. There's going to be way more attacks. There's going to be way more tribulation, and there's going to be way more tests. God is going to test your faith with fire. Proverbs 17:3. And you just got to have faith, man, and don't turn away, and don't ask God, you know, why? Because he's testing you. And, you know, it also says rejoice in times of tribulation, don't lean on your own understanding. You know, it's like when you're going to the gym and you're lifting weights and you're trying to get strong. If you go to the gym for 3 years, you're not going to be lifting the same that you were 3 years ago. You're going to be lifting way heavier. That's the goal. You lift heavier to get stronger. You're not going to get stronger if you stay with the same, you know, 10-pound, 20-pound dumbbell. And it's not supposed to be easy. You know, like most people, when they pray, they ask God, you know, take these problems away. God's never going to put something on our plate that we can't eat. You understand? You have to ask God for the strength to get you through what you want to get through. You understand? Ask God for the patience, the wisdom, the understanding. He'll give wisdom. He'll give anything to anything that you ask him, you know, as long as you believe and have faith. And it's a book that Marcus Rogers wrote. If you don't know Pastor Marcus Rogers, he's on YouTube. But I never read the book. I've always wanted to, but it's through the fire to be on fire. You know, how are you going to get through the fire? You're not going to go through the fire without being on fire. You know, our faith is going to get tested with fire. And break us before you make us, God. Like, every situation in my life where I've been like, man, how could this happen? How am I going to recover from this? I've lost career opportunities. I've lost job opportunities. I've lost houses that I lived in. I've lost friends, you know, but like I said, Romans 8:28, all things work together for those who love God. God is going to test your faith with fire. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego leave the perfect example. They trust that God is going to deliver them. But even if he doesn't, we're still going to serve him, and we're not going to worship this fake God that you made. And if you notice, did we not cast 3 men in the fire? But I see 4 men unbound, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. And the appearance of the 4th is like a son of the gods. You know, God is going to be there with you. He's never going to let us be tempted with something that we can't overcome. He's never going to put something on our plate that we can't eat. You just got to hit that secret place, pray about everything. Don't ask God to remove the problem, because he put that problem in your life for a reason. He's trying to level you up. Instead of asking God to remove the problem, ask God to give you the strength to keep going, and ask God to give you the faith. He's trying to increase your faith. A lot of you don't realize, but the trials and tribulations that you're going through is the answer to your prayers. If you're asking God for more wisdom, if you're asking God for more strength in your faith, he's gonna put it in the fire. You know, the crucible is for silver, the furnace is for gold. The Lord tests the hearts of man, and it's through the fire to be on fire. You got to trust God. You got to trust the process. You got to pray, and you got to stay close, stay connected. And I hope you guys have a good night. God bless you in Jesus' name.